Hi, this is Connie Jean Conklin, and I welcome you to our first video presentation by cscat.org. I'm the co-founder of cscat.org, and I say co-founder because I still credit Andy as being the inspiration behind the founding of cscat. This is something he wanted to do. Andy has a dissociative identity disorder and many alters. We were together for 10 years out in New Mexico, and moved here in the summer of 2000. And we drifted apart, but that's good. I mean, I was trapped at the time. My memories were blocked, so I didn't even think of this organization as being for me at the time, just for him. But I think the reason I was in that situation is because I have my own issues to deal with. Anyways, once in a while I have had a little bit of contact with him over the years. He's in the next county, I think, last I heard. There were different alters that had surfaced since he and I were together. They didn't know me, but they were able to work with the alters that did know me enough to, I met several new ones. There's no end with his. There's no end to them. And he will never be well. But he seemed content enough. And he was content when I met him because he had been told he was schizophrenic, and the alters were schizophrenic hallucinations, and I'm the one that opened Pandora's box by questioning his diagnosis. And then I just kind of felt like I needed to stick with him through the healing process, and 10 years and there was still no healing. So anyways, but I eventually learned 1 year, and my concept of time is not good, so it's hard for me to say exactly what year it was. But it was about the time I moved to Jackson County, North Carolina, where I found housing, and that's what brought me here. I'd been homeless 2 winters in a row. I don't deal well with cold, and I found housing that would accept me. They accepted my dog, and and it's just been awesome since I've been in this county. I mean, the people here are just unbelievable. The police are nice. They actually will try to understand and listen. I mean, it's not like the rest of the country. Not like just one county over where I got beat up by police. It's awesome. Anyways, 1 year I got back my cedar chest from Andy. He'd had it. I hadn't been able to get it because the alters that were with him at the time wouldn't believe that it was mine. And 1 year I got it back from him, and I started going through it. And there were things from my life that I didn't remember. I didn't remember the years that I had worked my way through college. I didn't remember the years that I worked as a professional in the mental health field. It was like gone, and it was a very confusing time for me that summer. And it's been several years since then. I just turned 63 years old, and for the first time in my life, I really feel like I've done all the healing I can do. I mean, there's the day-to-day maintenance, and there's the physical problems that are related to decades of traumatic living, and I ache, you know. It's normal. It's normal when you have that much trauma in your life to... There's a lot of medical stuff that's related to trauma. Eventually, I'm going to do a video about that. They now have the ACE scores that, help you understand how trauma relates in your physical health. Supposedly, I was talking with my doctor the other day, where I run her nonprofit. And we meet once a week, and we're talking. And according to recent research, if you have an ACE score over a certain number, which I do, I'm not as high as you could be. I mean, mine is, I think, at 5 or 6, depending upon how you do it. It's not an exact science, but anyways, it's high enough. It says life expectancy is 2 decades less than for someone who has, no, 0 or really low ACE score. And she says, well, life expectancy is still only 72. And I'm going, that means I should have died more than a decade ago. So I guess I'm doing pretty good. I'm a survivor. Anyways, when I got my memories from my cedar chest, I learned, I just had to learn. I had to get the memories of the child who'd been abused to mesh with the memories of the years I was emotionally numb, the years that I functioned. I didn't enjoy life, but I functioned. I was able to keep a job. I was able to have a life, and it's and all my life I was either hiding in the back of a closet, afraid of the entire world, or I was emotionally numb and functioning, and nobody suspected I didn't know there was a difference. You grow up thinking, what is normal? Hey, it's normal for your, mother to play mind games and, and tell you daily things like, don't ever have children or you'll regret it like I do, and things like that every day of your life. And you never know, one day what gets you sent to your room to wait for your dad to come home with the belt. The same behavior on a different day would get you rewarded with a bowl of ice cream. You never knew what was right, what was wrong, what. It was a guessing game. It was walking on eggshells every day of your life just to survive. And you don't know that's not normal. You don't know when you're a kid that that's not how it is in everybody else's household, because nobody sees it. And you don't know that everybody's father doesn't have a violent temper and scare you to death sometimes. I have clear memories now of my mother. She'd send you to... My sister would climb out a window and disappear, and eventually I gave up on trying to do anything about that. But me, I hid, and some days she wouldn't remember that she'd sent me to my room, and she'd just call us at dinner, and everything was fine. But sometimes Dad would get home, and she'd send him in to beat us with the belt, and he had a temper, and I remember her having... She eventually pulled him off of me one time when I really thought he was going to kill me. When I was a teenager, then the last time he lost his temper and slapped me, slapped my head up against the wall, and I saw stars. I was out of high school. I was not long before I left home. I was like 18, 19. And I called a neighbor of ours by his first name. That neighbor was only maybe 3 years older than me, but I didn't call him Mister. And he was a friend of my dad, so he was considered older. And, you know, that changes you. That changes who you are. I was just thinking recently, I've learned I'm not an introvert. I used to think I was an introvert. And I had to learn hiding in the closet and being afraid of everybody. That's not what makes you an introvert. I'm just the opposite. I want to make a difference. I want to be out there. I want to have a life. And at 63 years old, I finally have a life. But that's why CSCAT. It's why I've got to do things with CSCAT. I've got to make a difference with it. Because I don't want the next generation to take until they're 63 to start having a life. I want people, if you don't get help as a kid, I want you to be able to and feel free to get help as an adult. Some people think that child abuse is an issue until you're 17 or you're 18, and when you turn 18, you're an adult and all that is gone. It's just beginning. It is just beginning when you have to go out into that world, and it's not the world you grew up in. People are not like your parents. They're not. And you got to learn how to function. And the old ways of surviving get you into trouble rather than help you. And so you need to know it's safe to ask for help. You need to know that you're not going to get turned down everywhere you go. And it took me a long time. And the help I got was bits and pieces. And here I feel like I've picked up puzzle pieces since the early 1980s. I was married for 10 years. I got married because I had to get out of that house. And I couldn't do it on my own. And so I married the first one who asked me, which is not the reason to get married. We were best friends. We should have just stayed best friends, you know. But we stuck together for 10 years. And so I credit my recovery back to 1982 or 3 when he left me. I was supposed to leave him, and he left me. I came home from school. We were both working and going to school, and I came home from school, and the last day of the last term, and I had my bachelor's degree. And he said, he had the car all packed and was ready to go. He said, you're on your own now. You can earn a living, you know. I'm out. Sorry, I'm out of here, you know. And he was like, oh my God. I had to think for myself. I turned 30 shortly after that, you know. I mean, it was like, so people, I want CSCAT to educate. I want CSCAT to help other the helping professionals out there understand. So when they see someone who's had a lot of trauma, they know how to deal with them. They know, they can understand a little bit what a person is going through. That's the big problem with police departments these days. It's more often than not they haven't a clue. They think you're just being misbehaving. Oh, that's a term now. I hate. Oh my God, the behavioral health, like you're misbehaving. No, you know. But it's also important to realize that trauma-related disorders are not the same as brain disease, like schizophrenia, because they're treated different. Um, and they're advocated for different. The National Alliance for the Mentally Ill was founded by parents of people with, quote, brain disease. That's schizophrenia and some bipolar, you know, but not all, you know. Um, it, Trauma over the years changes the chemical balance, and mood disorders are common with people who've been traumatized, but it's not the same as the brain disease. Um, it's not should not be treated the same, but it is, because first resort is give everybody a pill, and that was a big problem for decades. I was given pills that didn't, they kept me numb, and it kept me from getting too extreme. But I mean, side effects and all that, for when a good therapist could have made all the difference, and I'd have had a life, um, and then I was working in the mental health field too. So I mean, I was walking wounded, went into the field looking for answers, and didn't find them. Anyways, I am going to, hopefully, it is my first video trying to put this together like this, having a working webcam, and learning to use video programs. I'm going to nobody wants to just look at my face for indefinitely. I'm going to bring in some slides and mix them with narration, because I want to educate. I want to, and I want to advocate. I do advocate for survivors of child abuse. And there are others out there now. It's awesome on Facebook, because there's so many different groups and so many people like me that have worked their way through their recovery. That's what I was starting to say. The National Alliance for the Mentally Ill was founded by the parents of people with brain disease. If you have a trauma-related disorder, you have nobody to advocate for you, because 80% of the time, your abuse came from inside your home by a parent or guardian. You have nobody that's going to advocate for you. You've got to recover yourself and advocate for the next ones that come along. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm hoping to do. And life gets in the way. But, I've been trying to do this for 25 years, and it's just now really going anywhere. But we are our own advocates. We are all we have. So, I found on my Facebook page, I am not getting helping professionals reading my posts or learning. I'm having other survivors get on, and there's survivors that are still struggling, but they want to know they're not alone. And that's who gets on my Facebook page. People with usernames that are very sad. But that's all I can do on my Facebook page. It looks like is let people know they're not alone and there's hope. You might take 2 years, 6. Well, I figure I've had recovery about 2 years now. So since I worked through the steps at Codependence Anonymous, it was like all these pieces I got from all these classes and workshops and books and hit or miss therapists, that come together and made a picture that makes sense. And I now I think I have a pretty good understanding of what this world's about and what my mission in life is. I'm just a little old. I'm hoping I can still do it, But It's, anyways, let me pull some slides up for you. Um, the statistics haven't changed since I first did slide um, a slideshow presentation decades ago. Some of these are almost the same, or there's the same statistics, just on different backgrounds. But I've looked them up and they haven't changed, you know. And the biggie, 80% of the abuse comes from a parent or guardian. And if a child grows up with nobody to talk to and nobody to go to, that just compounds the trauma over and over and over. Anyway, thank you. And you'll hear more from me later. Thank you. Bye. Check back with us soon, where I will give you more information on the effects of child abuse, the diagnosis that's most common to adult survivors, and I'll tell you more about why you should care about survivors of child abuse. Um, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.